Yeah. All right, let's get back into the material, friends. You are here today for episode 6 of the podcast that we call No Other Life. It's brought to you as part of this project that is called No Other Life. It also has a partner podcast, which is called Upstaged. You can find that just about anywhere that there are podcasts, not literally anywhere. And you can find it all at rickseaholm.com. Last time when we closed, we were talking about the small changes that you can make in your lives. And I was digging in a little bit as well into kind of being there for the people around you. We were talking about adversity specifically and some of the things that you might think, well, I should change that in my life. And I pointed out that some of those things that are kind of borderline of whether you want to or don't want to change them, you could also go the route of changing the way you look at them, which might end up helping out someone in the world. And we were talking, and we'll continue now to remind ourselves that all throughout our tree of possibility, there are more, it seems, than not, nodes in which a small thing ended up exploding into a variety of pretty major things down the line. And over the episodes, I've talked about the likelihood that we might be paralyzed by that and say, oh, no, that means that anything here could be a big life changer. How can I predict those? And the truth of the matter is you can't predict them. There's no secret formula that I have that will allow this ability to see the jackpot, the bonanza, and say, hey, you know, I really should go down to the convenience store right now because 15 years from now, there's going to be a real big benefit to it. No, you can't do that. You can't predict anything in this life. But what it will allow you to do is to begin more so to think about the small things in real time. So while you can't say that this small thing is going to be important to me 20 years down the road, if you temper your thought process over the coming weeks and years, you'll at least be in tune to experience those smaller things with intent, so that when you do a DPN in 20 years, you'll say, oh, yeah, that day I went to the convenience store. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I remember it well. I enjoyed that Slurpee that I bought. And something that seems to be mundane in the present, you will look back at it and say, yeah, I'm cool with that. That makes sense. Whereas if you really could predict which is the small thing that will matter, you'd totally ignore all the other things that did matter. If you think back on your childhood, 18 years, let's say, 18 birthdays. Now, some of those you have no mental capacity to remember because you were pretty small. But even so, if you think in terms of 18 birthdays, 18 gifts, let's say, do you remember any of them? There's probably one or two that you do. And if you were fortunate enough and resourced enough to have multiple gifts on all of those or some of those birthdays, your sample set will go up. But I really believe that the actual number of things you remember is not going to go up. It's not. I predict that, and I will stand by it. I can't remember a single thing that I ever got for birthday. Can't. 18 years, and I'm sure that I got stuff, and I loved it. But ask me what my grandmother's attic smelled like. Ask me what it was like to bait that first fish that I was so, or bait the hook to catch the fish, that I was so terrified about. Ask me what it was like to ride on the school bus to the first day of kindergarten. Those are the small things. Those are the things that matter. And I really believe that we get too focused on making those things that are smaller go to the backside so that we can bring forward to the front all of those experiences that, as I said before, we planned in advance, that we said, this is going to be important. 6 months out is my wedding, my first day on the job, my graduation. All of these things matter. They matter a lot, and you should not stop planning them. You should not phone it in. You've got to be there, especially when there's people you hold dear who are counting on you for those things. But I think you all would agree that we do make odd priorities at times. Now, I am not a parent. I do not make any effort to pretend that I'm a parent, and I am certain that I try very hard never to advise a parent, because what I know is the experience of going to visit or having over, going to the movies with the niece, the nephew, the godchild, and I love those moments. But then I'm in the car, I don't know what it's like to put the kid to bed every single day. I don't know what it's like to put up with a kid that comes home from school and won't tell you why they're being moody today, and they had the hardest day of their life. I don't know what that's like because I'm not there on the battlefield with you. So keep that in mind as I say to you, we all try to make those big things bigger and put those small things aside. But I assure you, if you think back in your own biography, it is the small things that will matter most of all. You know that that's the case. We've all seen it. Now, there's something about me as an adult, I have no idea why, that when there are a group of adults and a group of kids, somehow the kids find that I'm the one that should get a punch in the gut, the one who they should tease, the one who gets his hair messed up. And I love every minute of it. Maybe that's something that they recognize. But it's those silly little things that a kid will remember as something about me. And I'd like to think that when it really matters, when things actually count, I'm a good mentor. And that those kids know that the guy that they punched is a safe space to come and talk to. And that's all that I can do. That is all that I can hope for in the world. Now, when you were growing up, you had a number of people who were mentors to you. And when we first did our DPN a couple episodes ago, I assured you that the practice would reveal to you those people that, as I said that day, you need to thank every time you see them, because something they did for you when you were 5, 10, even 30 set your life in a different direction. I've told you about watching that movie in 5th grade, and nothing afterward would ever be the same for me. And I'm not entirely sure who the teacher was that year that showed me the movie. It was music class, and I don't remember. I have a very good idea, but I wouldn't, bet the $1 million on it. So figure out who those people are. And as we're always thinking in spectra, past, present, future, shift your thought process a bit. Shift it so that you're not thinking about the mentors to you. And think about it. Some of those people were entrusted. They had to help you. It was a parent or a parental figure, a teacher. But what about that old dude who worked at the grocery store with you when you were 16? What about that guy? He gave you knowledge for life, and you didn't know it at the time, but you think about him now and then. Yeah. What about the little old lady at church who changed your life only by giving you cookies and an extreme amount of attention, dedication to your future? Those are the people. And guess what? As you get older, you are those people. Whoa! No kidding. You are the person right now who is going to make a difference to some youth, and 20 years from now, they're going to have their little No Other Life workbook out, and they're going to realize that you were the person who set them on their course. Wow. It is so true. So true. You are doing that today, and there is no possible way to avoid it. Now, in the way that I mentioned those parental figures, the teachers who, quote, have to do that, had to help you, you probably are a parental figure or a teacher or some sort of a guide to a specific person or group that are entrusted to you. Those are your flock. But what about that lonely person sitting on the subway beside you? What about that person that you sit beside in the coffee shop? You recognize them every day, and you can tell they're doing something important with their computer and all the sweat on their brow. But who would have ever guessed that they are trying to break into the industry that you've been in for 40 years? Think of the wealth of information that you're not giving them day in and day out. And I'm saying to you, as someone who values his time more than anything that is given to him of a non-personal nature, I'm not there. I'm not. I know the medicine to take, but I would pass up that kid. I know that I would. I thrive when I am entrusted to take care of a student at my job or a goddaughter. It's the greatest honor I've ever had, and the greatest happiness I've ever known is having a niece and a nephew and all these people whom I hold dear. But that dude on the bus beside me, I'm hoping he doesn't breathe on me. And it's awful to think of, but hey, I'm being real here. I hope that you can do better for yourself than I can, because I can think about the truth here. I know what the right thing to do is. And hopefully I will learn from my own episode next week when we come back here and I begin to tell you why it is so important that I break out of my shell and that you do too. Because we're going to figure out why it matters. In the meantime, break out of your shell, learn about yourself, see what you can offer, and above all, take care of yourself, friends, because you have no other life.